Greetings, Judah, Israel. This is your brother DFG. Hey, my brothers and sisters. I want to take some time on this Shabbat. So I guess let me add that into this. Shabbat Shalom, my Israelite brothers and sisters, as well as my Judah brothers and sisters. I want to take a little time on this Shabbat, my brothers and sisters, and just remind us again of the times that we're in. You know, the day of Jacob's troubles, as the scripture warns us of, Rachel's, weeping, crying for the trouble or for the issues of life that we're going to be confronted with. The siege, I guess, is a better way, to say it. A second Exodus event. And when I say Exodus, I'm not just talking, my brothers and sisters, where the redeeming or the redemption aspect have it, but I'm talking about all the troubles that went on, once the Exodus or the signs of the Exodus had begun. And these would be, what I would call, again, the days of trouble. If you're studying with us and you're following with us on our Wednesday night Bible studies, you already know that we are covering, what happened in the first Exodus. And we saw when Moses and Aaron, God's messengers, were brought forward for Yahuwah's people, that the resistance from the leadership, the government of that particular world, the timeline in which they were in, not only stood up against Moses and Aaron or the Israelites, and keep that in mind because that's going to be relevant in a short while. Not only did they make them a hate group, but stood up against Israel. According to our book, Pharaoh, as a matter of fact, let's go there right quick. Praise Yahuwah. I don't want to get ahead of myself because my excitement, it gets to kicking in, really fast when it comes down to, the things of Abba Yahuwah. And I'll say this again to you, my brothers and sisters. I don't know where you are in your walk. I don't know where you are in your stance. I don't know where you are in your beliefs. And I'm talking about general here, to the general Israelite. So-called, if you're in America, African-American, Brazilian-American, Jamaican, or wherever you may be, or Jamaican. Doesn't have to be necessarily American attached to your particular tribe or ethnic group. But I am saying to you, if you are Israel, there is no escaping Abba Yah's judgment for you, whether you believe something or don't. And again, I'm not coming at you in a way in some type of offensive or trying to place a particular judgment on you. A warning is not a judgment. If you've ever been stopped, if you're in America, if you ever get stopped by a traffic cop and he says, okay, this is a warning, versus him taking your license and giving you a slip of paper to sign, then you should know the difference between, judgment and a warning. Okay? I'm not judging you. I am warning you. When you get a warning from a cop, he say, okay, I'm going to let you go this time, but next time you need to be careful. What I'm saying to you, my brothers and sisters, it is time for you to be very careful, especially if you're out there not serving any other thing other than yourself. And yourself includes your family. Yourself includes your possessions, your money, your house, your cars, property, whatever it is. All of that is a part of self-worship. And many people do that. Many of us have done it. Some of you are still doing it. So, for those, and here's a sidebar statement for those who say, well, I'm an atheist. I don't worship, anything. Well, if what I just stated a moment ago describes you in any way, then you do believe in, I'll use the word so you better understand. You do believe in, God. You just believe in the God of yourself. And in this world, while you're still here 10 toes down, that's okay. But it's not going to be okay when you leave. And you are leaving. You're going to leave. Now, some of our brothers get caught up in that African spirituality stuff and, I'm coming back like these idiots. These camps, they just in this big vicious trash recycle. Every last one of them have come back as Elijah, or one of them. So I guess Elijah won't be held accountable, or nobody will be held accountable, because according to their, foolishness, they don't recognize that, they're in, some form of neuromancing, divination, enchantment. But I'll leave that, right there. But if you think reincarnation is the way out for you, you got another thing coming. You have another thing coming. Some of these guys have done some of the most wicked crap on this damn earth. And I'm not judging anybody. We all got our damn, burdens. We all got our skeleton, for lack of a better word, that we had to deal with. And if you came to Yahuwah and you have repented, have dealt with. But they're not even dealing with theirs. They going to the idol Jesus or Yahushua, or whatever the hell they call that wicked, stinking demon, homosexual, freak out, Caesar Bagora, pulled out of your butt demon that had all of us under the hex. And they're thinking that somehow or another that's going to excuse them for the judgment to come. It is not. And I'll say that to each and every one of my brothers and my sisters. I have no reason to try to spook you into anything. I have no reason to try to deceive you or anything. You do what you want to do. I've said it to you 1,000 times. My responsibility is as a watchman of our Yahuwah is to warn you. You do whatever you want to do. You can. You can be just like old Tupac. Only God can judge you. And he got judged. So your day of reckoning is going to come too. All of our days of reckoning going to come. I'm just warning you to at least challenge your understanding that, are you ready? Do you really think you're ready? Because I can take you over to the book of Isaiah 66. And this is what it says about those who say they're ready but doing whatever they want to do. Isaiah 66, verse 23, it says, "And it shall come to pass that from new moon to new moon, mean year to year, Shabbat to Shabbat, shall all flesh come to worship before me, says Yahuwah." All flesh. That's all of us. All of those of us who are going to be with him. All of us, when we leave this earth, whether we leave it in alive, or we are resurrected from that cool, smooth, dry place, or this place that I'm about to mention you. They were all going to face judgment, but then there are going to be some of us, the righteous among us. That's these people I'm about to describe, who are going to be coming new moon to new moon, or year after year, Shabbat after Shabbat, before Yahuwah. And here's what we're going to observe. We're going to observe all of those who are gods unto themselves. Everyone who think you can do it any other kind of way. All of the pagans, all of those who are pagan worshipers, all of them who are practicing all the other religions out there, including the so-called Christian religions. Christians but not Christians. They worship. How ironic. You're not a Christian. Yet the Christian God, one of the Christian gods, because there are many, but one of their Christian gods died at 33. You're not a Christian, and your God died at 33 years old, I'm sorry. On the cross, there's on the cross. Crucified, yours were crucified. On the afternoon of Friday afternoon, 6th day, theirs was too. Was buried, theirs was too. In a cave, theirs was too. Was resurrected, theirs was too. Came back to visit with men for 40 days, there's there too. Went back up into the heavens, there did too. And then came back down, on the day of Pentecost, there's there too. The fix is in on you who claim that you're not a Christian. But you can't see it because you refuse to accept the truth, because that's not what you were taught. But then you got into the Torah, and I'm not faulting you for this, but had you gotten into the Torah as we did, we got into the Tanakh as we did, those of us who are now awakened, then you would understand clearly that all of that was put in there to replace your own history, Israelites. You let somebody add something to our Torah, our Tanakh, that replaced you. Again, that included them and made them superior over you, I might add. And you're still participating in it because you just think that all you have to do is just change the characters to black, and somehow or another, everything else being equal is different. Well, I can get a white dog and a black dog, and they both could be of the same breed, and I can assure you, if I named them Rex, they both would look back. If I said Rex. So you can be non-Christian Christian all you want, but this is where I'm going with that particular statement. Isaiah 66:24. And they shall go forth, and they shall look upon the bodies of men that have transgressed against me, says Yahuwah. Now, what is transgression against him? It means believing on any other Elohim, any other creator other than him, or son of a creator, or partner creator, or trinity creator. The third one, the second one in the tree, anything. He's sovereign. He's one. He said, if you do anything other than serve him exclusively, bow down to him, pray to him, trust him, call him your redeemer, call him your savior. If you do anything other than Yahuwah, this is what you can expect. And we will look upon the carcasses, those of us who are where many of you are. We're going to be looking upon you. You look down upon us now, but later we're going to be looking down upon you. And this is what we're going to see. And their worm shall not die. That means your spirit. Neither shall your fire be quenched. And neither shall there be, and there shall be, will be, absolutely are going to be an abhor. It's going to be abhorring to us when we see it. We're going to be terrified of what we're going to see when we see them. All of those who transgressed against Yahuwah. Every last one of them. Right down there, burning in torment for that place that was set aside for Satan and the fallen ones, the demons, the Satans with an S. You can read about that in Isaiah chapter 5. Hell increased itself. This place. If you don't want to call it hell, you can call it whatever you want to call it. But the one thing you won't be able to call it, and that is a place where your ass won't be burning. You won't be able to call it that. You won't be able to say it's not that place. Now, you can call it not hell or whatever else, but you will be down there with them. And it's not necessary, but it's a choice. Life is full of choices. The most important choice that any of us can make is considering what happens after death. Didn't your boy Biggie decide that? If you're American, you know I'm talking about Notorious B.I.G. Life after death. He knows what it is now. If I die and go to hell, let me be whatever. I think that's one of the verses. Well, he got that right. And so all of these, this arrogance and this stubbornness and stiff-neckedness of too many of our brothers and sisters. I don't believe. So what you don't believe? That you tell her you don't believe you even in your body that you're in. Let you tell it you don't eat food and drink water to survive. Let you tell it. Let you tell it you didn't come through a man that you hate. Let you tell it. Letting you tell things, let some of them tell things, it's just a strange smell. It's an abhorring smell. Let me tell it. And again, this is not to bully up anybody. This is just to tell you the truth. Somebody got to tell you the truth. For far too long, we have aligned ourselves up with, with these pacifiers, preachers, teachers, whatever the hell they call themselves. No longer do they talk about judgment. No longer do they talk about consequences for actions. Now it's all inclusive. We just got finished going through one of the worst months in the history of mankind, probably other than what was going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Days of Noah probably was as wicked, maybe not as wicked, but wicked. So-called Pride Month. And I don't know if any of them, that I know it's been going on for some years now, but the only thing I could say is praise Yahuwah, because it passed fast for those of us who are in the truth. It did get, we're in July now. But some of the most wicked, debauchery, abominable behaviors. We're coming after your kids. We're coming after your kids. This is what they were saying. And half of Israel, you don't have to come after mine. I'm going to give them to you. Yeah, right there. He a boy, but he won't be a girl, so it's good. But yeah, you don't want to read Leviticus 20 and 13. Leviticus 18 and 22. You don't want to read the Torah. Your book, a warning to you. So therefore, you'll be an abhorring to us who tried to warn you. Why? Because we thought we were better than you? Be serious. Come on. You don't believe that. Then maybe again you do. No, we warned you because we loved you as our brothers and sisters, and we realized that we had a responsibility to at least tell you, hey, the house is on fire. Get out, get out, and get out. And you told us, what does it matter? It's my house, so leave me alone. So, okay. This ain't for you, this ain't for you. I get it. But for those of you out there who are listening to your brother and saying, maybe I need to reconsider some things here. Well, yeah, this is for you. And for those of my brothers and sisters who have come out, this is to remind you. This is not a game. This doesn't end well for anybody. Those of us who will make it, I can assure you, we're going to go through a moment or two. That's why we need to be together as a collective group. It's not going to be one of those things you can stand by yourself. And yeah, I'm going to go back to, let me go over to Jasher right quick, because I don't, Abba Yah will keep me on track, and brothers and sisters, and we know if whatever he gives your brother, then that's what he wants your brother to share, and that's what your brother is going to share. But I do have a quick little Katrina story that I want to put in here before we get into the meat of what we're going to be sharing today. And by the way, saw and hammer. Precepts, research, study for yourself. I'll let you know where I was. I'll leave the map, at least the markings on the map. Well, you just have to go back and track those markings and see if those markings make sense to you as to where your brother was leading you on this Shabbat in terms of what Yah wanted you, me, all of us to see and understand. The book of Jasher, chapter 80. As a matter of fact, how about this? Let's go to 79, book of Jasher 79. Verse 51. Jasher 79, verse 51. And again, this is Moses and Aaron confronting, the wicked, president, king, prime minister, whatever the hell you want to call them. And them getting pissed off because they didn't like what we had to say. Who do y'all think y'all are? Sounds familiar? But it didn't stop them from saying it. And when they realized that they weren't going to dissuade Aaron and Moses, then they just went on the attack, like they're going to do now. Already doing it. If you've been following this wicked government, just yesterday, day before yesterday, the so-called Supreme Court, your Supreme Court just announced in America the end of affirmative action for college students, and that's your being a minority from an oppressed peoples who were deprived of rights for hundreds of years. And even when they supposedly gave them rights, they put in other laws and rules to limit their access to the benefits of their citizenship, called black codes, vagrant laws, pig laws, redlining, redistricting, anything and everything they could think of to deprive a so-called free people from pursuit of life, liberty, and happiness. And somehow, in all of their infinite wisdom, all of a sudden, oh, you know what? Y'all don't need nothing from us. No, let's just make things tougher for them. That doesn't ring a bell? When our people confronted, when Abiyah sent Moshe and Aaron to confront Pharaoh, what did Pharaoh say? Oh, y'all got time in y'all hand? Y'all got that much time to be walking around here talking? Well, let us just get the straw and take that, and let's see how you make bricks now. And you better make them, because if you don't, we're going to come out here and kill your babies. Which is what they did, and what they're doing. We're going to take your children. Nothing new under the sun. But I know many of my brothers and sisters, I know you're still not convinced, but we'll see what happens. Maybe the day you have that aha moment, that moment of clarity, maybe. Maybe this is the day you stop accusing your family members of being a part of a cult that does not exist. Your church is a cult. Not brothers teaching and sisters teaching the Torah, the Tanakh. That's not, your church is a cult. It's a place you all huddle into every Sunday or Saturday. That's your cult. Under some leader who doesn't study himself. He gets a little book that teaches him how to bring about sermons, and making sure that he's in line with the faith-based initiative, because he don't want to lose his 501c tax. And if he doesn't get 501c, he don't want to lose the heathens in his congregation. Right, Dow? So they preach what you would call a customized message to make sure that everybody who's following them are happy. As they go right to this place I just described to you, where their flesh is going to be burning and they can never die, and it's going to be an abhorrent. But don't feel too bad if you're following those people, because they'll be right there. Your leadership will be right there with you. So, Yah will judge them for what he has done to you, she has done to you. They're going to judge. The sad part is, unfortunately, you're going to get judged right along with them, but Yah will get them for what they did to you. Okay? If that makes you feel any better. So now Pharaoh is angry because he don't like what Moshe and Aaron has to say, and they made him look bad. They claimed that their gods, or the gods they were serving, were equal to his gods, and he found out real fast that they were not created. They may have been equal to the other gods, but they were not equal. They did not coexist with Yahuwah. You have your Buddha and Amon-Ra and your Kali and your Thor and your Apollo, your Diana, your Isis, your Horus, your Jesus, your Yahushua, whatever names you got. They all can coexist together. Allah, you're Jehovah, whatever y'all doing over there too. They all can coexist together. But none of them are at the level of Yahuwah. He doesn't share his authority with anyone, nor his throne, nor his place. Period. Sovereign. But anyway, he got pissed. Well, use his word, angry. The book of Jasher, 79 and 51. And the anger of the king was kindled at their words. And he said unto them, but who amongst all the Elohims of the nations here can do this? See, again, they're always going to call out their gods, brothers and sisters. And Israelites, those of you, the 1/3 of us who are here, look, they're always going to come back to their sweet, Jesus or Yahushua. That's not nothing new there, brothers and sisters. They're going to fight for him or them. If you're Hindu, you might have thousands, millions of them. They're going to fight for them. They are going to fight for them. Hell, many of them will die for them. Many of them have died for them. Ultimately, all of them are going to be destroyed because of them. I'm talking about the followers. And their gods too. Because they're real. Nobody's sitting here saying Jesus is not real. But he has other names like Yahushua in their realm, but Samzusa in other realms, and I'm sure many, many other names. Lucifer, the morning star, son of the morning, Isaiah 14, chapter 1. You can read it for yourself. But he ends up in hell, and the people are sitting there looking at him like, we can't believe you the one that caused the whole earth to shake and tremble. But I'm sure when they use that GPT for chat, whatever, 4.0, 40, like they're doing in some of these churches now preaching sermons, it's the same one that's going to cause all these people who believe in the rapture, when that thing is going to create an illusion, some holograph. It'll come hologram, it'll come out of the sky, and it'll tell everybody what to do. And like, grateful minions, they will obey it. And he's going to lead them somewhere. We'll get to that. Praise Yahuwah. But other gods is not a new thing. From other nations, including this one, it's not a new thing, brothers and sisters. And if you're serving some other god, you're not doing anything new either. So don't think yourself, extra, privileged. You're doing an old thing. Even if you're that god. Your mom and daddy probably was thinking they were gods too. Or not. And you leave them alone because maybe they were righteous, or at least seeking to be. Somehow or another you came out of that and you got wiser than them. But anyway, verse 52, and he drove them from him, talking about the evil king. And he ordered the labor upon Israel to become more severe than it was yesterday and before. See, this is what I'm talking about, brothers and sisters. It's about to get rough out here. So when they're eliminating their so-called social, bootstrap, programs, or step up programs, affirmative action, whatever else they got out there. You know what I'm saying? Now when they start to eliminate that, this is the equivalent of this, brothers and sisters. They're about to make things a whole lot tougher. A lot of our peaks are still thinking that, SNAP and food stamps and those things are never going to run out. Yet you living in a country right now that's got $33 trillion of debt and trying to figure out who to cut. Just like ESPN. If you're following sports, some of your sports, fans out there, you heard about what happened to your Jalen Rose and your Max Kellerman and many more to follow. They thought they had it made too. They thought they were good. Man, I got a cush job. Man, I'm going to ride this thing. I'm going to grind this thing to powder, man. Well, they better. I hope they were doing it better. I hope they were being financially responsible with their resources. Or maybe, because if not, they might be over in Kmart in a couple of years pushing buggies. They really thought the heathens was going to save them in a time of crisis. I've said it before. Heathen gets the cold. Israelites get double pneumonia. And even their own heathen children get at least, the C-19. That's what I'm going to say right there. But he made things harder on our people, brothers and sisters, and they're about to make it a whole lot harder now. They got acts that they got to pass, the Online Act. How many of you guys are familiar with the Online Act? The Online Act. Just to give you a quick little snippet is that going forward, at least in the state of Canada, the country of Canada, and it's coming here sooner than later. Where now in Canada, if you cannot go to any social media platforms to get your news, you have to go to mainstream media. Meaning that now the propagandalists, those who teach propaganda, those who work, for the main propagandists, those who work for the beast system, they're going to get their news and their news only. Do you realize what that could have meant for many of us, those of us who are Israelites in awakening now? If we had to wait for the mainstream news media to find out things about us, to help us start searching about who we are, that led us back to our truth, we'd still be waiting today for that. It was like-minded brothers and sisters like myself, and many, 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 many others before me, who started this thing drop by drop by drop by drop. It's the old journey of 1,000 miles starts with one footstep. Many of them abdicated. Many of them went so far and turned back. Many of them right on up to where they had to let go sweet Jesus, and they said, I can't do that. But I'll give credit where credit is due. If it were not for those platforms, a lot of the truths and things that we understand or that cause us to think about and reflect, as this channel does, at least intended to do, was the reason why we are where we are today. And if they have it their way, as Pharaoh continued to increase his pressure on Israel, that day is soon to be done with. And so your Snap, your GPT, your information, you're going to the channels for the word. Those days are coming to an end. And most of our people are not paying any attention to that. They just believe it's going to be they look at the government as the goose that keeps on giving. Yet this government is doing everything, just like a lot of these corporations are doing, everything in their power to cut some more labor, save some more money. Because I'm going to tell you something about the rich. The rich don't give a damn about the poor. Never have, never will. But Israel can become beggarly with the quickness. What I mean by that is depending upon others instead of depending upon each other. Or even worse, just depend on themselves and forget about each other. Even worse. This channel is not about that. This channel is about the truth. This channel is about handling the word of Abba Yah delicately. Because I understand the consequences of lying and conflating, teaching false doctrine for money's sake. I understand how dangerous that is. Better yet, I understand the consequences of doing that. Conflating the truth. Because you're trying to grow your congregation or you're trying to justify your stance. The book says it's abominable for you to be with him, and you're sitting over there saying, well, it's a covenant I made. Seriously. You made a covenant with, that went against Abba Yah. He gives you an opportunity to come out from that, and you tell Abba Yah, forget you. The covenant of men is greater than the covenant of truth. Your word, which is truth. Like when that wicked king, let me give you something to compare and contrast, stole the daughter of Israel, that the brothers didn't go back and take their sister back, regardless of whether or not that wicked demon had married it or married her. And there's Jacob over there, oh man, I don't know what's going to happen, because I made a deal with them on the side. Abba Yah told Jacob, be quiet, shut your mouth. They did the right thing. She didn't belong to them. She belonged with her kind. It's right there in the book. Go study it. I'm not going to hold your hand here. Enough of that. I don't honor any covenant with these heathens, Israel made with these heathens. It's the reason why our people ended up in bondage. Brother Franklin and I were looking at the other day. Go back and read Joshua. I want to say, I think it was Joshua 65. Maccabees talk about Maccabees 1 making covenants with the heathens. And the next thing you know, the heathens got their foot on our neck. That's what happened to our people in Israel. They started slowly. The heathens befriended us. Come on in, we're going to pay you a good wage. We good, we got you. But it was a trap, it was a snare. And little by little, they started pulling their people out and leaving our people there. And before you know it, gentrification had all right. Before you knew it, they had the gold and we had the Bible, as the old saying goes. But they didn't have Bible, they had religion. And that's where many of our people are today, with the heathens' religion, while the heathens are lapping it up and laughing at them. I can't believe they still believe in this. But then again, when sorceries and hexes are involved, those things go on for generations. When you're under a spell or curse, you don't even know you're wrong. You don't even know you're deceived. You think it's like a person who's suffering with mental illness. They don't think they're suffering with mental illness. They don't think there's anything wrong, with sleeping, in the middle of a garbage patch, eating their own, feces. They're like, what are you talking about? I don't know why you looking at me strange. Because they're under possession. The same thing with those who are in religions. They're under possession. Those who think they're out, but they're really not out. They're still in, they just think they're out. But the story, different time, but the same old thing. Just like Ecclesiastes said, Solomon said, nothing new under the sun here, nothing new here. Same old thing. Question is, what do we learn from it? Are we learning? Do we care to learn? Because again, what the heathens did, they slowly but surely drew our people over in with them, mixed in with our people. Before you knew it, our people were out and they were in gentrification. Can't live here no more, the taxes too high. But we got a nice little place for y'all out there on the very edges of the city where no services will be provided. But police, I'm sorry. But we'll make sure you have some drugs, alcohol, and a gun or two, Wink, wink. Now go do y'all job. Go live your life now. Just call 911. We'll send the coroners. Because again, if you're studying the book of Joshua, if you're studying over there with that story, there was one group that held out, Levi. Levi held out. Go read back and read Joshua 65. You'll see what happened. Matter of fact, it's the Shabbat, but also we have better to do than to study. If you go back and you look over at Joshua chapter 65, verse 32, when all of our other people had made this deal and went into these covenants with these heathens, depending upon these heathens for their well-being, this God loves everybody foolishness, because that's what they were told. That's not what the book says. That's what a man named John said a man he met told him. About it. But if that's enough for you, then hey, what can I tell you? You got a whole big Tanakh, a whole Torah that says nothing like that. That, as a matter of fact, it says that you are an exclusive chosen people. That you and you alone, if you're Israel, are the only acceptable people of Abba Yah, promise of redemption and salvation. And for that righteous stranger, they will be your servants. They will be working for you. So if you call that redemption, then okay. But it's not the same thing. You're going to, if the car going to belong to you, they're going to drive you around in it. Otherwise, you don't get to ride at all, because where you're going to be, it's going to be flesh and worms and screaming and howling. Except you be the driver or the owner of the car. And what we're trying to do is get you in the driver's seat where you're supposed to be. We're trying to get you, how you say, the the papers on the car, the ownership papers of the car. The title. Because until you have that title, that car is not yours. Until you turn back to Yahuwah, redemption and salvation is not yours. I think I made that plain enough. But look at Levi 65:32. It says, but the children of Levi, Joshua 65:32. And it says, but the children of Levi were not employed to work with their brethren of Israel from the beginning until the day of their going forth from Egypt. They never did it. They never compromised. For all the children of Levi knew that the Egyptians had spoken all these words with deceit to Israel. Therefore, the children of Levi refrained from approaching to the work with their brethren. And Egypt did not direct their attention to make the children of Levi work afterwards, since they had not been with their brethren at the beginning, and therefore Egypt left them alone. So don't tell me you can't stand apart from them. Don't tell me you're supposed to be a part of them. Because if Abba Yah does not change, and he does not, he said, learn not the ways of the heathen. Why? Because their ways are vanity, and they'll turn your sons and daughters against him. That's Jeremiah chapter 10, 1 through 4, and that's also the book of Deuteronomy. Praise Yahuwah. 7 and 3, 7 and 2 in the Torah. But let's come back over to the burden over here. We're still coming back there. That's why you should have your saw and hammer. See, this is what real study looks like, brothers and sisters. See, when you don't have nothing to hide, you don't have anything to hide. The word is the word. The truth is the truth. I'm not worried about being judged of the truth because I don't have to judge it. Yah is judging it. I'm just one of his watchmen bringing it out like I'm directed to do. But at the end of the day, it ain't up to me if anybody believes this or not. It's up to them. It's up to you. My heart cries out for Israel. How could it not? I'm an Israelite. That old saying going, you can't help a man don't want to help himself. You can't help a woman who doesn't want to help herself. No matter how hard you try. It's just going to keep coming back to you empty, 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 and empty. So at some point, you just have to accept it. Let them go. And for those out there who you may be listening to this and you're in disagreement, it's okay. We don't have a problem. I'm glad you're here to listen. I'm glad you're here to hear it. Now you know. So you've learned something. Doesn't mean you have to execute what you learned. I would if I were you, but it's not up to me. It's up to you. So I'm okay with that. I'm not okay with how it's going to end for you, but I'm okay with the right that you have the right. But look what it says here. Let's go back to the book of Joshua. Chapter 79. And you just heard me talking about a moment ago. Now they're starting to remove all semblance of the wickedness. In other words, when they remove everything that these people have done to our people in this wicked place all around the world, brothers and sisters, you know what that's going to mean? Their children get to do it all over again if time was left to permit. They'll be able to do it all over again. How many of you guys are familiar with the saying, those who forget their past are doomed to repeat it? So clearly, if they erase the past, it opens up the door for the little baby racist, little stinky devils to come up and do what their parents did and be justified in it. No, there was nothing to hold them accountable, nothing to make them feel ashamed of. After all, surely, they can't, we can't have them, knowing what we did to get to where we are, at least what our ancestors did. So let's just remove all these programs. And that way our children can have free run of the land. And since they're in the majority in places like here in America, they can kick ass and take names. And we can push the little monkeys back into the jungles, according to those lies, where they came from. I guess they call it ghettos now. Urban areas, inner cities. Soon they'll be called FEMA camps, detention centers. Let's go a little bit farther here. And he drove them from him. This is verse 52. And he ordered the labor upon Israel to be more severe than it was yesterday and before. And Moses and Aaron went before the king's presence. And they saw the children of Israel in an evil condition from their taskmasters that made their labor exceedingly heavy. It's talking about here punishment, making life tough as hard. How many of my brothers and sisters, if you, in my, what I would call it, born in my particular generation, how many of you were told, well, you got to work twice as hard as somebody white if you want to get ahead? How many of you were told that? And did you ever consider what that meant, what they were saying about us? More important, what it was saying about them. What it was saying is that they were a bunch of racist, double-standard devils who would increase our labor just to get what they got. In other words, just to get what they had, we had to work twice as hard, but we still had to do with housing discrimination, workplace discrimination, mass prison incarceration, crack epidemic, and more that they were behind to ensure that our lives would be burdened, heavy, and self-destructive. And then they would stand back and say, see, what did that little demon Biden say? I don't want my little blonde hair girls, getting on the bus, going to school, with them, he wanted to say the N word, but he couldn't quite get that out of his mouth. So he just said the underprivileged, which we all knew that was code word for the N word. Barely in his day and time. After all, his buddies were a bunch of segregationists in Congress. Eastland, Strong Storman. Go look it up. He said they treated him like he was one of their sons. This is your Joe Biden. That your Israelite brothers just love so much because they hate Donald Trump so much. I'm going to prove the less of evil that makes you evil. We're not even supposed to have anything to do with their system. We don't really have anything to do with it. We're just a head count to make it look like there's some equity in the decisions they make as it relates to us. But it doesn't take a hard look. You don't have to dig very deep to see what's beneath that surface. It's nothing but, bricks and stones, and you can't go too far. Stop confusing topsoil with good soil. You gardeners out there, you know what I'm talking about. That's Israel, confusing topsoil with good soil. S-O-I-D. S-O-I-L. But let's make it difficult for them. Make sure they can't get ahead. And every time they think they get ahead, then let's come up with some crime that they committed, and then we're going to send the police in there, and then, and we're going to stand back and let them burn down everything in their areas, riot. And then when they get tired, we're going to put a bunch of them in jail, and then we're going to let their community just sit there for years and years. Can you think of Detroit, Michigan? And we're going to just go to the suburbs where we were going anyway, but, now we justify it. Verse 54. And Moshe returned to Yahuwah and said, why have you treated your people? Now, see, this is, where we get real deep and heavy here. This is where the judgment of Yahuwah comes. Now we're getting back to the story at hand. What I was saying. Because now when all these things start to happen, a lot of our people are going to turn into atheists. Well, if he was really God, how would he let, them do that to my child? If he was really this, how could he do that to my wife or my sister or my brother? If he was this, then why we, the tail, why we, don't have nothing? But the one question they won't ask, the real question, or at least how you say they would think, the one issue they won't address, or what they say the elephant in the room, is not so much why Yahuwah did it. The question should be asked, what did we do to deserve it? Last night in our Zoom call, one of our sisters had brought that up, and she was saying, there are times I'm like, is it them or is it Yah that's bringing this harsh judgment on us, these things that are happening right now? All this wickedness and death and mayhem, abominable behaviors and actions. Should I be looking at the heathens, my brother, or should I be looking at Abba Yahuwah? I say, sister, you should be looking at both. Abba Yah is allowing it as judgment, and they're gladly doing it because they're wicked. Both. But see, in narrow-mindedness, you got the one group over there wanting to say, well, just look at them. And then you got the other idiots on the other side over there. Oh, no, just a spiritual thing. Jesus, Savior, Jesus got this. Don't worry about it. In this world, you're going to have trouble. But in the next life, they're going to be no trouble. You're going to lie down with the Lamb. No, you're going to be burning amongst the sheep, the 2/3 sheep, who believe that lie. That's the real truth. So yes, Yahuwah is allowing these things to happen. Not because he hates Israel. He's judging this earth. And he's judging all these heathens, including the 2/3 heathens. He's judging them. This is the harsh labor that Moses was talking about, even after the king realized that the Israelites were Yahuwah's people. As these heathens realize today that we are the true people of the book, not the Caesarians. And you got Israelite brothers and sisters as old and gray-headed as I am. Been in the word for years and they still won't come out of there. Oh, brother, the Old Testament stuff. Bro, what happened to you, brother? You used to be fired up for Jesus. Yeah, just like I was a clown. It was a minstrel show, and I was right there leading the orchestra. Let the band play on. And just like a clone, like the rest of, those who were, how you say, Christianized, Christendom. I like the last part of dumb, D-O-M, Christendom. But you can put that D-U-M-B. I was marching to the beat too, like a good little soldier. We are Christian soldiers marching on to war. Boy, the lies they tell and the things we do, because we rather accept the deceit than the truth. And Moses asked Yahuwah, why have you treated your people like this? For since I came to speak to their king, their presidents, their leaders, what did you send? Why did you send me? What did you send me for? Why did you tell me to go before them? Because now he's exceedingly mistreating your people. See, this is what's coming. You see, our brothers and sisters, they think because, they don't see any, everything looks okay now because that's what your entertainment industry is going to tell you. Everything is okay. It's good. BLT. Tyler Perry just bought it. Come on, man. Aren't y'all happy about it? Come on, look at Jay-Z and got a new liquor company. Look at PD. Sean Puffy. Look at him. Look at Sir Rock. Look at Lil Wayne. Look at him. They doing good. Look at LeBron. Look at LeBron. He gonna go to school in 2 years. He gonna play with his son in the NBA. Woohoo! And that's us over there. Yeah. I like Cardi. Well, they didn't want to say it, but y'all told me to say it, so I'm saying it. So, hey. But I'm going to stand like Levi and like my Levi brothers. We're gonna sit it out. All right, y'all go on over there. Keep on following them. Keep on trusting them. Keep on rubbing shoulders with them. Keep on living amongst them. Go ahead on with your bad self. I know you got it until you don't have it no more. Go ahead on, run. Keep on running. But there is a cliff at the end of that road you're running down. And it's called judgment. And there's going to be something awaiting you. Because yeah, you ran. But you ran in the wrong direction. That's Israel. 2/3 of us. Eleven seconds. Another died. Another just went off that cliff. Let us continue. And Yahuwah said unto Moshe, behold, you will see that with an outstretched hand and heavy plagues, Pharaoh will send the children of Israel from his land. See, judgment is coming. But look what it's coming with, brothers and sisters. Heavy plagues. This last thing that happened in the last 3 years, according to the damn heathens, ain't got nothing on what's coming. All this Canadian fires and fog, or so they're telling you. There are people measuring that stuff, and they say whatever they're measuring, it ain't smoke. And it's the pollution that it is enough to strangle a damn elephant, let alone a human being, cause respiratory issues. Not medical science, not a doctor. Just sharing some information. That's it. Next 2 years going to be exciting if weeping, crying, screaming, hollering, suffrage, misery, fear, desperation, hunger, loss of life, destruction of anything of value, no morals, totally immoral. If all of that is what excites you, next year, 2 years is going to be very exciting. I wonder what they did with by the way, while I'm thinking about it, I wonder what they did with all those coffins that was purchased about 10, 15 years ago. You know, the ones that were stacked so high, it looked like they could fit several carcasses in them. I wonder what those, I wonder what they are. Guess we'll find out. Am I right about it? Verse 56. And Moshe and Aaron dwelt amongst their brother, with their brethren, the children of Israel, in Egypt. And as for the children of Israel, the Egyptians embittered their lives with the heavy work which they imposed upon them. So when you start to see all these industries start to lay off and shut down, and all of these supermarkets and grocery stores start to run out of your basic supplies, sanitary supplies, health supplies, food supplies, water supplies, because if we have one more doggone train falls off the track and somehow conveniently next to a water system. Let me stop there. All these acts of nature. Let them tell it. But every time Abba Yah tries to remind Israel, it's more to it than meets the eyes. Remember the aliens in the backyard? What do? Oh, I wonder if the Lakers going to win their championship this year. Oh, did you see the BET Awards? Oh, Tyler Perry. Oh, the submarine, man. I can't believe it sunk. Yeah, and 500 people died in Greece too, man, on that boat that was supposed to only be able to sink 50 people. What boat? Where that happen at? And these are the same wise people who will tell us that we're idiots, brothers and sisters. I'm talking about those of us who Abba Yah's pulled out. We're the idiots. But they know about that submarine. But they have no idea about the 500 people that they used that submarine situation to hide that truth, as well as the aliens, demons, fallen angels that were on camera in a man's backyard. Several men saw it. And now these men have lawyers. They don't want anybody to talk to them because I'm sure they've been threatened. Because we have to depend on the mainstream news media for news. Or at least that's the way it's coming down the pipeline. Or we can get back into the book and the news is already pre-written. They're fallen angels, they'll kind of come back. Their seed never died. Their children have always been here. And their children have flesh. All of them aren't demons that you can't see. It says they have flesh, but they have no spirit. Go read the book of Enoch. It's your book. For you so-called New Testament believers, the book of Jude talks about the book of Enoch, so I don't know why you're struggling with Enoch being a real book. Your precious Jude, Jude, he believed in it. He read it. But you let heathens tell you, oh, that's not canonized. That's not, you can't read that. That's not legit. Wow. But it says it, the book of Enoch 105, I want to say verse 16, 17, right in there, they'll tell you that yes, when they came down there, they made babies and those babies survived the flood. Those babies have survived everything. They just reproduce just like men. And they've always been amongst us. And they've always been watching us, oppressing us, destroying us, until the day that they can reign supreme again on the earth. And they're using their intelligence, or so-called intelligence, artificially, to reinvent their gods and their power. That's why you see chat doing church services. Why you think they set up the whole rapture story. They won't tell you that it came from a little girl who had a dream and said she saw a rapture in some, Catholic clergyman who decided to write a story about it and reprint it and use propaganda to get, millions, if not billions of Christians to believe it. And many still do to this day believe a rapture. And they'll go over there. See, he said, look, in a moment of twinkling of an eye, he showed the dead shall rise first, and then us who remain upon the... Okay, whatever. Told you, brothers and sisters, you're not going to hood with me with that foolishness. Been there, done that, studied it inside and out. I'm telling you, it's fake. It's lies mixed with truth. To hope you accept the lies. To make it palatable. It's the sugar that they put in the castor oil, so you don't spit it up so easily. But it's vomit. It's the, what did they say? The dog going back to his own vomit. That's what it is. It's vomit. But the truth is the truth. Again, and Moshe and Aaron dwelt amongst the people of Israel in Egypt. And as for the children of Israel, our people, our ancestors, the Egyptians, Africans, North Africans, whatever you want to call them, Africans all the same, embittered their lives and made their work and made with heavy work which they opposed upon them. Then after the end of 2 years, verse 80, chapter 1, and after the end of 2 years, Yahuwah again sent Moshe to Pharaoh to bring the children of Israel, to bring forth the children of Israel and to send them out of the land of Egypt. So this next 2 years, see, that was a 2-year gap there. All those things that were happening, they were embittered. Their lives were made much, much worse because the truth had come out. Now that they know who we are, brothers and sisters, I'm telling you, they're going to come with us with everything they have, including mainstream media is already government controlled. That's why you can go to any station anywhere in this country and you'll hear the same news, the same evening news, except for local events is being repeated. That's just the truth. It doesn't matter. You can call your mom at 5:30 in the evening and say, you see that on the news, on the world news today, what they said about what happened over in, I don't know, Somalia? She said, yeah, I saw it. Who you think is controlling all of that? Where you think they're getting that information from? Not the government? How would they know that? All of them at the same time? And you still can't figure out who's in charge. Okay. All right. Well, again, I guess you'll have to find out the hard way then. But they already said the next 2 years, that little Mo, whatever his name is, who worked for Google, he made the comment. He said, hey, I advise you not to have no children in the next 2 years. That's what he said. But that's his opinion. He's entitled to it. I didn't say it, YouTube. I'm just repeating what somebody else said. So we're good. That was just an opinion of his. But let's get back to the mainstream message. Now let's come back over here. Hallelujah. Follow me over to we're going to go to First Baruch Apocryphal book. See, we're not afraid of the Apocryphal book. How interesting. We're the demagogues, we're the ignorant, we're the fools. We don't have any prompts to help justify what the word says. But we're the ones in darkness. See, I don't have a crowd of men around me while I drink my whiskey telling me amen. Not necessary. And if me and my brothers are going to come before the word with the word of our Yah, you can believe we're going to come humbled. Not as drunkards. But then again, we're not them. Because we're not Christians by another name. Am I all right about it? And by the way, for my brothers and sisters, and I said it a moment ago, and over the next couple of years, it's going to be a crime to identify as an Israelite, a Hebrew Israelite. Now, for some of you out there, you know what I'm saying, who out there, you know, thinking that's all it is, and it's just a thing, it's a fade, it's a fade, how you say, it's a passing, you know, moment of time. Give them time, they'll forget about it. See, the thing about it, this is the one time that is not just a fashion fad. It's not a fad. See, this time it sticks. See, those of us who are the true Israelites and understand who we are, I'm talking about in mind and body, not just in body, in mind too. You're not changing our mind. We are not those who turn back. We're like the Levites. We are out and we stand out and we're never going back in. ever. We'll be watching the rest of our people get judged right along with the heathens. But the 1/3 of us, we're done. So this is not a fashion fad or a religious fad or renaissance. No, this is a fact. This is hardcore truth, brothers and sisters. We ain't going nowhere. You can cut us down and do whatever you gotta do. You do what you're gonna do. But we here to stay. And you can get that in your stiff-necked head or not. First Barak. Again, apocryphal book. And the Barak spelled B-A-R like Baruch. So you have to write Baruch. First Baruch. Chapter 2. Verse 1. And therefore Yahuwah has made his word good, which he pronounced against us, and against our judges that judge Israel, again and against our kings, and against our princes, and against the men of Israel and Judah. He said, what he made his word good. What word? What word did he make good? When you look at our conditions all over this flat earth, tell me what word he made good for us. How things going for us, wherever we are. How we living? What are the conditions, circumstances? Because according to this, Abba Yah made his word good. So is that to indicate Abba Yah is good with our struggle? Abba Yah is good with our, abominable behaviors? He's good with our immorality, doing whatever we want to do, serving other gods. Although he told us, learn not the ways of the heathens. Don't be a part of it. Is he good with it? Is that what this means? Let me read that again. Therefore, Yahuwah has made good his word. So that means his word is true. So, I don't know. What about you, brothers and sisters? How folk living for the most part, wherever they are? Have you noticed? Churches on every other block in the ghettos or the hoods or urban areas, whatever they're calling it today. What is it looking like over there? You see any homelessness going on? You see any people running around with mental issues, real mental issues? You see abandonment going on? Do you see broken families? Do you see men walking up and down the street, don't know whether to pull their pants up or let their pants fall down? Do you see confusion amongst the gender? Do you see a flat-out war between the men and the women? Do you see a flat-out hatred in some instances? Do you see a people so unhappy with themselves that they'll pretty much do anything to their bodies, regardless of the cost, to look better, to feel better? Because he said he made his word good. So is that what good looks like? Well, it may not be what good looks like, but it may be what making his word good looks like. Here's why. Come with me over here. Let's go over to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And it was Deuteronomy 7:3, where he tells us we don't make no covenants with no heathens. At least if we do, none that we keep. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 1. Now this is his word. And it shall come to pass if you hearken diligently. Now remember, this is Moses talking to Israel. Same Moses that was over there in Egypt talking to Pharaoh. This is the same Moses over here talking to Israel. And he's warning our people now. After what they've just gotten through that experience, by the way. In Deuteronomy 28, they just getting through the experience that was happening in Joshua 79, 80, 81, there and about. So this is a little past that time frame for reference purposes. And he's reminding them of something. And now here it is again, reminded again later on, many years later, in 1st Baruch. Just so you can compare and contrast. They tell on their channels, we teach on this channel. Well, you think your time would be better spent. And it shall come to pass, if you shall hearken diligently unto the voice of Yahuwah, to guard and do all of his commandments, which I command you to do this day, said Yahuwah, I will set you above all the nations on the earth, and all the blessings shall come upon you and overtake you. In other words, your cup gonna run over of blessings. If you diligently guard the commandments which I command you. That's making his word good. That's what this good word is about. But let's go a little further. He goes on to say this. If you're keeping his Torah, which they told us was done away with, nobody could do it. Yet here's Moses telling them all to do it. But brother, that's why they brought Jesus. And that's why things are so much better now in the hood. Can't you see, brother, how well we doing now with Jesus? Because according to them, that's what Jesus was supposed to do. Since men couldn't keep it, he had to send Jesus, and then Jesus was going to make it better for them. Because Jesus was supposed to be about them being able to couldn't keep the Torah, and that's why they were struggling. Now they got Jesus, and they're still struggling. But again, when you're serving and pray to a man who can't serve himself, or worse, even play the spirits and ghosts, I guess that's what's going to happen. Nothing. Oh, a little something here or there, because they do magic over there. A little blood here, a little blood there. You can get something for that. But what you're not going to get is this. But I'm reading. Blessed shall you be in the city. We know what our cities look like where we live. And blessed shall be the fruit of your body, means your children. And the fruit of your ground, and the fruit of your cattle, and the increase of your kind, and the flocks of your sheep. And blessed shall be your basket and your store. And blessed shall you be when you come in, and blessed will you be when you come out. We're eating some of the worst food on this earth in this country. Talking about in these inner cities. Corn chips, potato chips, Snicker bars, laced with every kind of chemical known to man. Read the back of the package. Words there are damn scientists couldn't pronounce and understand the meanings of. And we're just putting it right in our babies' mouths as we stuff it in our mouths. So now we're dealing with issues with hair falling out. We're dealing with issues of internal, organs not functioning the way they're supposed to function. Infections. Weakening our bodies. Discharges. Indicating that something is seriously wrong with our bodies. Eyes are becoming dimmer because of diabetes and other things, because of what we put in our bodies. This is what he's talking about right here. So if we were blessed, we wouldn't be dealing with any of this stuff. And what he's simply saying, Yah is good on his word. Because as he's good on his word on the blessings, guess what, brothers and sisters? Let's drop down a little bit. Same chapter. Let's go down to verse 15. Matter of fact, 14. And you shall not go aside from any of the words which I command you this day, to the right or to the left, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other Elohim to serve them. Other means no other Elohim but him, brothers and sisters, to serve them. They're serving Yahushua. And we're going to talk about Yahushua right now, because that's the big problem of those here in the islands, in Africa too, quite frankly. South America, without question, and North America, where our people are. Here it is, he's saying, we aren't supposed to be serving anyone but Yahuwah. And what are we doing? St. Francis, St. Paul, the Virgin Mother, the good ship Jesus. I'm sorry, that's a slave ship Jesus. I mean, Jesus. That was not a slip of tongue. Matthew, saint. John, saint. Luke, another saint. Mark, saint too. And we're reading words that they wrote of a man many of them never met, and we're serving the man they wrote about. Because if you don't write that, there's no history of this man that we would be serving. As a people, I'm talking about. But yet, you can go back and look in their own archives, and they said they made that up. These men never met the man they wrote about. If he exists, they didn't meet him, because those books weren't written till hundreds of years later, in some cases. None of them less than 100 years later, after these men had died. So they had ghostwriters, I guess, literally ghostwriters. And you can go into any of our churches, and they're teaching right out of those books. And all in the Geno Jennings and the Charles Dowells and all the rest of them are doing exactly that. T.D. Jakes, the Creflo Dollars, the Juanita Bryants, the Jamal Bryants, they're all doing it. Yeah, your pastor too. He or she is doing it. Now, ask yourself how blessed your city is, where y'all live. Let's see what your powerful Jesus has done to show himself strong. Because according to our book, Abba Yah goes throughout the whole earth to show himself strong. That means the blessings that are read about in 28:1 through, all the way down to 13. I didn't read that far, but you can read that yourself. Because that's the book that he goes, that's again, if you go to 2 Chronicles 16:9, it says, Abba Yah goes throughout this earth to show himself strong in the hearts of those whose hearts are perfect towards him. So that means whatever you're doing, if you're doing it with all diligence, you're doing it with all sincerity, and you're in full truth, then where is the power to back it up? Because Yahuwah said there will be power for those whose hearts are perfect towards Yahuwah. Where's the power? Where's the power? I think that's a fair question. I remember back in the days when I was a kid, Burger King had this commercial, and they would have the little lady, she would go into McDonald's, and they were doing this whole big old competition thing. And she would walk in and she'd ask for a McDonald's burger, and she'd open up the bunch and say, where's the beef? Oh boy. Anyway, where's the beef? Where's the proof? Where's the proof that your sweet Jesus has given all power, and you're the head, not the tail, the lender, not the borrower? Your children are blessed and prosperous, not sickly, and everything else that I don't need to say, because in the day, our children, like my brothers and sisters as well. So I'm not here to spit on them. I'm just here to say, hey, could you possibly be going down the wrong path? Could you have possibly been misled? Have you even considered? The fix is in. And we're not winning, we're losing. And the only way for us not to be winning is that Yah is good for his word. And his word said if we served any other Elohims, check this would happen. But it shall come to pass if you will not hearken to the voice of Yahuwah, to guard his commandments, which they said was done away with, and do all of his commandments and his statutes, which they said was impossible, all these curses shall come upon you and overtake you. Let's see if he's good on his word. Let's see if Yahuwah is good on his word. Because that's what we just read over in First Baruch, chapter 2, verse 1. It said Yahuwah is good on his word. Let's see. Deuteronomy 28:16. It said, curse you're going to be in the city. And curse you're going to be in the field. And curse shall be your basket in your store. Means the food you eat. Curse shall be the fruit of your body, and the fruit of your land, and the increase of your kind, and the flocks of your sheep. In other words, we would be forever dependent upon Egypt, or a government system, Babel, for survival. That's cursed. Goes on to say, hallelujah. And Yahuwah shall send upon you curses of vexation. That's called depression. Vexed. You're depressed. You're unhappy. No matter what you try to do to make yourself feel better, you don't. No matter how many times you go to church, nothing changes in your life. Vexation. Let's see if he's good on his word. Does that sound familiar, by the way? Yahuwah shall send upon you curses and vexation, and rebuke in all that you set your hand unto for you to do, until you be destroyed, and until you perish quickly. Perish means you leave this earth before your time. How many of you brothers and sisters knew that when you look at vital statistics, that's the records that they keep of humans. They keep records of your average income, records of, household, how many people live in a household, what levels of education. All these things you can find in what they would call demographics. But there are vital records also that talk about diseases and things of that nature. Even records around how old the average person is in any particular social group, what we would call race group. Do you realize that we die younger than any other group? Did you know that? Younger than. I'm not talking about the 17, 18-year-olds who out there, causing mayhem and taking each other out. I'm talking about as a people whole. Collectively. The good and the bad amongst us, for the most part, as they would say. Men and women, children, everything combined, we die the youngest. Yet we're the biggest, the strongest, the most athletic. How is that? Except it be Abba Yah's judgment. But let's go a little bit farther. See, the word is truth. They want to tell you, somebody wrote this. It ain't true. All you got to do is compare this to what you see. Compare and contrast. Read this and then go outside. Take a drive. Anywhere in this country where there's a Martin Luther King drive or avenue or street, and tell me what you're going to see. You'll see churches. You'll see cross on the building. You'll see a preacher here and there. Old sister struggling, trying to make it, pushing her buggy by herself. But what you're not going to see is prosperity. Because that's for those who obey Abba Yah's word. And he's good on his word. And since you decide to serve your Jesus, or the similitude of your Jesus, then he's good on his word with that as well. Now let's go back over. You can read the rest of this. You follow me? Because it goes on, the verse 68. Matter of fact, hallelujah. Looking at time. Hallelujah. Woo. How about I just read, brothers and sisters, then we're going to get back over there, study out a little more, and we'll be done. All right? Praise Yahuwah. Okay. All right. On the clock. But I am going to drop down here. I'm not going to go verse for verse. You can read that on your own, but I'm going to hit certain places. Deuteronomy 28:27. Yahuwah will smite you with the blotch that he gave. So all that sickness and sores that he put on them Africans, and you're going to get the tumors in your head. You're going to get the itch where your scalp, alopecia or whatever it is, hair falling out. Wherefore you cannot be healed. It ain't going to grow back when it falls out. Now this is what he's saying if we don't keep the Torah. So a lot of our beautiful daughters of Zion who are struggling and trying to do all kind of little breast implants and Brazilian butt lifts and all this foolishness stuff. You follow me? Y'all say, I can do all that for you. You don't need to be wasting your money. You didn't have to get there. You didn't have to go over there and put your life on the line to have those things. Y'all say, I would give that to you naturally. As a matter of fact, it is naturally yours. But you're eating poison and garbage because they told you can eat whatever you want to eat. Telling you all food is good, but what they're not telling you is some things that people are using for food that was not put here for food. Those things were here to keep the earth clean. They were never considered. A pig was never considered food. A pig is a disposal, a garbage disposal. Same thing with crabs and crawfish, shrimp. Y'all would have never considered that food. So that's why he said you can eat whatever, because that's not food. Those things that keep the ocean floor clean and the earth floor clean. Like your buzzards. That's why you see them eating dead stuff. You're not supposed to eat things that eat dead things. He would have never said that was food, so he would have never thought he had to say that, because it's not food for human consumption, not for Israel, not for those who were made in the image and the likeness of Abba Yah. Now, on the other hand, there's another group here, beasts here, that can eat those things two-legged. And it, for the most part, it's not going to harm them. And that's not being evil. That's just truth. And what happened is because they were eating it, and then they taught us in their religion that we could eat it through Christianity, New Testament, lies. Well, they're not lies because it is their book. So they had us reading those books that told us to go against Abba Yah's commandments. And we started eating it too. And look at the conditions we're in. And we're looking at them saying, well, they look healthy. They eat pig. Yeah, because they're not you. They don't have your DNA makeup. Why you're not supposed to mix with them. Just telling the truth. But if you were studying instead of being told, you would understand that there are some things on this earth that you're not supposed to eat because they're here to clean the earth, not for you to eat it. You eat all the things that are clean the earth, then everybody's going to die of what? Diseases. Nothing in the ocean is going to live. Talking about the clean food, and the edible food is not going to live because you're killing all the things that keep the conditions clean so that they can live and strive and survive. Why you see all these whales and all these things are coming up and dying? Because men are eating the doggone things that kept the waters clean. And making a good damn profit on it, I might add. And now the fish are dying, birds are dying. Cattle, different things like that, clean, are dying. Because the very things that would have kept the land clean for them to strive and survive, man is eating it now. So he gave us Levitical laws so that to remind us, don't eat that. That's not for you to eat. That wasn't put here for you to eat. What about the strain? You say, well, again, they're not you, so yeah, they can eat it. And again, that's not a diss at them. That's in our book. Study it for yourself. So just because they eat it don't mean you're supposed to eat it. How you think a lot of us got caught up in this trap of, doing the other thing because they were doing it too. See, we're going to go first. Look, we doing it. Look at Joe Biden. See, look his shoulder. He did it. Now put your shoulder up there. Your turn. Never told you what they were putting in him was not the same thing they were putting in you. Or if it was the same thing because you got different genetic makeup, it's going to affect him one way and affect you another way. But since you wouldn't follow Yahuwah's way, now you got another problem on your hand. Possibly. Possibly. Probably. Time will tell. Verse 28, and Yahuwah shall smite you with madness and blindness. That's glaucoma. That's mental disease, brothers and sisters. And astonishment of heart. That's heart trouble. And you shall grope at the noonday. And as a blind man gropes, you're going to be grabbing for straws, trying to figure out what to do, how to make it, and can't. You're not going to know what's the right decision to make at any given time. Constantly taken advantage of. Constantly being manipulated. Silly women and silly men. Ever knowing but not able to come into the knowledge of the truth. Know everything, but have no idea who they are and have no idea what these commandments mean to them in terms of what kind of life that they're living. I'm going to drop down a little bit farther over here. Verse 54. So that a man that is tender among you and very delicate, his eyes shall be evil towards his brother. Tender and delicate man? What does that sound like to you? And then look at our men. Look at them. The Pharaohs. Offset. Look at them. Lil Uzi Vert. Lil Nas X. Look at them. Look at them. They don't look delicate to you. Sweet as pumpkin pie. But they're supposed to be heterosexual. Maybe they are. Then again, who can say? But one thing we know, the book just described them. Let me read it to you again. Tender and delicate. 54. Let me back up a little bit. Hallelujah. Oh boy. Oh boy. So that a man is tender among you, very delicate. Ooh. Oh. Man. And his eyes shall be evil towards his brother and towards his women. Even towards his own children, he will leave them. Leave them. Verse 55. So that he will not, talking about this effeminate man, so that he will not give to any of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because he has nothing left in him to give. And in straightness, with a straight face, wherewith your enemy shall distress you in all of the gates. You're going to see it with your own eyes, the oppression of the people. Look at the police. Just think police. But the book ain't true. The commandments are not to be kept. But this is a judgment that's happening to us, although they're telling us this is done away with. Well, how is the Torah done away with if we're still dealing with the consequences of the Torah, as it's written in the Torah? If there's no other reason why you should thumb this video up and pass this video along, I just gave it to you. You can go to minute 130. Say, don't listen. Just go to 1 minute 35 and listen to what the brother has to say. Listen to 5 minutes and then give me a call. Tell me what you think. They're probably not going to do it anyway because they're not interested in the truth. They're interested in living the life that they live in. And they've been socially engineered or doctrined or socially engineered or indoctrinated so deep into religion that they're just not interested in the truth anymore. They like their labor. They like that Pharaoh has increased the burdens upon them. Or you think they would be uncomfortable with it and turn back to the truth. They're good with it. Not only they good with the wickedness, they'll tell you, come on in too. I don't know why you already following them. You ain't going to the party tonight. We're going to be getting drunk, man. They're going to be whores there. They're going to be a whole bunch of men out there with a whole lot of money. Whole bunch of fools out there drinking and driving and ODing and everything else. Don't you want to come see that? People throwing up and getting sick. Hung over the next day, can't stand up. Robbed. Raped. Come on, man. Don't you want to be a part of that? You crazy? Girl, you ain't coming? That sounds like healthy-minded thinking. But because you won't do it, somehow or another something is wrong with your mind. And because they're doing it, their mind is good. But then he said, they will be mad men and mad women. They would be dealing with some vexation in their heads. What's right is not going to look right to them anymore. What's good is not going to look good to them anymore. Judgment. Let's go down a little bit. Verse 61. Also, every sickness and every plague which is not written in the cipher of the Torah will Yahuwah bring upon you until you be destroyed. This latest event, 2.5 going on 3-year event, who they say were the target and who would they say would impact the most? You know, the new one. You know the one. Y'all know the one I'm talking about. They didn't say blacks and Hispanics? Or the Israelites, better said? They didn't say that? Because the book said that's what they would say. Just since the book is not true and you're supposed to not read it and it's done away with. Just want you to know it is in the book. It is in the Torah. That's what I'm reading from. Let's go a little bit farther. Come on, you come this far. Come on, Red. Verse 62. No, we're going to drop down. We don't even have to go there. Let's come down to verse 65. And among these nations shall you find no ease. No ease. Meaning no matter where we live in, we always are going to be last hired, first fired. Whatever benefits us, you can be assured it's only going to be for a moment. They're going to take it back, as you see them doing already with their affirmative action, and they're surely not going to pay what they owe, as you have clearly heard them say they're not going to do with reparations. Because Abba Yah is judging us. That's why they won't do it. Although we think it's them, but like I said earlier in the message, it's both. It's Yah and them. Yah is using them to judge us because we chose to follow after them. And serve their gods, all of their gods. Drop down a little bit further. Verse 64. And Yahuwah shall scatter you amongst all the people from one end of the earth to the other. It's interesting. One end. That don't sound like no globe to me. End and end. This is an end. This is an end. One end of the earth to the other. Oh, and by the way, this doesn't look like a ball to me. And it has two ends. If you turn it that way, it'd be north, south, east, and west. Ends. Verse 64, Yahuwah shall scatter you among the people from one end of the earth unto the other end of the earth, and you shall serve their gods, and neither shall you or your fathers, and you shall serve their gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even gods made of wood and stone. Crosses, buildings, monuments, statues. stars, moons, on and on. You shall serve other gods, which neither you nor your fathers have known, even wood and stone. And amongst those nations shall you find no relief. Neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. In other words, you're going to work from sun up to sundown and still not have enough. 2 jobs can't even get it done for you. But Yahuwah shall give you a trembling heart, failing eyes, and misery of mind. And your life shall hang in doubt before you, and you shall fear day and night, and you shall have no assurance for your life. In other words, your life is not guaranteed. Your life is worthless, according to those nations that he scattered us in. So poor that you got to come up with slogans like Black Lives Matters just to remind people that they shouldn't be just killing you randomly. To treat you better than a dog with whom they wouldn't kill randomly. You don't see signs saying dog lives matter because they know they wouldn't go around killing a dog for no reason. Or for reason other than threatening their lives or vicious lives or threatening the lives of innocent people. But for you, they needed a group, organization, a flag led by a bunch of lesbians. But that's a story for another day. Mockery. But the book said it would be that way. Our Torah, your Torah, my Torah. Amongst these nations you shall find no peace, neither shall the sole of your foot have rest. But Yahuwah shall give you a trembling heart, failing of eyes, and a sorrowful, miserable mind. No peace. And your life shall hang in doubt before your eyes, and you shall be fearful day and night. And you, talking about people scared to even come outside in their own neighborhoods. That's our women. I ain't going out there. I'm scared. Nobody gonna hurt me. And they're probably right. But it's gonna get worse. Much, much worse. For you sisters out there talking about staying in these cities, you think you scared now. And remember I told you about the Katrina thing earlier. A lot of people say, well, I'm gonna hunker in and I'm not gonna go anywhere. You follow me? I'm just gonna wait it out in my house. Well, I'm gonna tell you something. When shit hits the fan, sister, New Orleans is a perfect example. There were places in New Orleans where it did not get any water. I mean, no water. Garden District. I'm talking about the higher end parts of New Orleans. New Orleans is on a slope. The river goes upstream. The city sits on a slope like that. Got the lower ground, lower Ninth Ward where the big flood was. You got the French Quarter where there wasn't a lot of flood. And then you have the upper New Orleans. We call uptown. If you're from New Orleans, you know what I'm talking about. We call it uptown. Means that it's higher ground. Didn't flood over there. But if you lived over there, you were forced out of your homes anyway. Who made you leave? The Federal National Guardsmen. And they came in with assault rifles. And if you didn't answer the door, they kicked the door in. And if you went out saying, well, I'm good, they said, no, you're not. Get on the truck. You're leaving. So for those who you think you're going to be able to sit at home with an EMP strike and a power grid goes down and you're going to be good, no, they're not going to let you stay in there. They're going to take and put you in the truck and you're going over to the FEMA camps. And that's where you're going to be. So you either come out while you can. That's why we're here. Like-minded groups like us are planning and thinking and strategizing and are very serious about it. Or you can stay on your own and then you're going to end up with a whole bunch of people that you're afraid of. Because they don't play nice. They're not going to play nice in the FEMA camp. No more than they were playing nice in the Superdome, in the convention center. And I'm sure a lot of you women heard those stories. What was happening to women in there. And children, and the elderly, etc. So just think about what your brother is saying. Consider it. A couple more verses we're done. Still in Deuteronomy 28. In verse 67, in the morning you shall say to Elohim, Yahuwah, I wish it was night. And at night you shall say to Yahuwah Elohim, I wish it was in the morning. For the fear of your heart wherewith you shall fear, for the sight of your eyes what you shall see. In other words, it's going to be so bad, you're going to just be hoping your life is over with. Come fast. Y'all, can you hurry up and come? That's what it means. Come on. I'm going to keep serving you, y'all, but please come. Hurry up. Like-minded believers, tell me you're not feeling like that already. Those of us who are keeping Aviyah's Torah, those of us who are not in idolatry and false religions or anything, we've come out that we're not serving any other Elohim but Yahuwah. Tell me you don't feel that way already. But the book said we would feel this way. Collectively. Now, all these things don't apply to us because when you're keeping these commandments, you're still going to have the anxiety because you see what's going on. You care, you love. But you know you could wait it out because you know Yah has a plan for you. Then Jeremiah 29 say, I know the plans that I have for you. 29 and 11. If you're keeping his Torah. And our plan is to come out and separate and wait it out. But not the way they're lying and telling people. Because this is what they're telling. Let's watch this. Verse 68. And Yahuwah shall bring you in. Now these are the ones who are being judged. Yahuwah shall bring you into Egypt again with ships, by the way which I spoke to you. And you shall see no more again. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondsmen and bondswomen, and no man shall buy you. Now you think about ChatGPT coming up with a ghost ship. They can make guns now, right? Can they go on to use the chat, what is it? These little guns they can make now. Y'all know what I'm talking about with chat. So what's to say they won't make a whole bunch of ships? These ships that these Israelites over there talking about coming for them. These cruise ships, luxurious cruise ships that are coming for them to take them back to where? Africa or the wilderness? And I've told these folk time and time again, that's a trap, that's a snare. Yeah, they'll produce all these ships that they're working on as you guys are, as they're believing. And these folk gonna get right up on those ships because you know what? Y'all gonna give them an illusion that they believe a lie because they would not accept the truth. And the truth is Yahuwah and Yahuwah only for Israel. So yes, he is going to give them a delusional mind, and they're going to think, oh, see, that's the ship Isaiah 60 is talking about. I told y'all they were building them in Lebanon. No, the fallen ones were building them wherever they were building them at and sending right on over there for you and say, come on, get on, come on. They're going to have that little peewee guy. Where's the plane? Where's the plane? That's the plane. Him. There's going to be a love boat for you, all right? But there ain't going to be a whole lot of love when you get on. It's going to look like a love boat, but once they get out to sea, you're going to find out. You'll be asking, where the love? And they're going to say, here, take another hit. Kapow! Now shut up. Take your clothes off. I said enough. This don't have you thinking, I guess, ain't nothing else I can say for you. But I'm trying. Through the grace of Abba Yah, his mercy. Let's go back to the first Barak. We're going to read a couple of verses and we're done. Let's go back to verse 2 and hope you got some concepts. Now you understand what Barak chapter 1, first Barak 2 and 1 is talking about. Say, therefore Yahuwah has made good his word, which he promised against us. And against our judges that judge Israel, means our people, our congressmen, our leaders, our pastors, all these supposed to be, people of authority among us. He's judging them too. Wonder why? No, we don't have to wonder why. Because they're in idolatry. All of them are in idolatry. They're idol worshippers. Some of them know it, some of them don't know it. Doesn't matter, as long as you're doing it. Blind leads to blind in both, right? We've heard that before. There's a way that seems right to a man, even said better. The end of that word is what? Death and destruction. Solomon, Proverbs 14 and 12. Our princes against the men of Israel and the men of Judah. So Israel or Judah, don't matter. All 12 tribes going to take the hit. If you're over on wherever you are, scattered on this earth, and you're Israel, but you're not Judah, you too. You're not getting out of this mess. Because many of you over there are Christians too, and Muslims, and Hindus, and Buddhists. Oh, he sees your ass. And I'm here to tell you he sees you. And he gonna seize you, or let the enemy seize you. And nobody will buy you when they're finished with you. Nobody gonna want you when they're finished with you. But brother, that's a lot of happening in 2 years. Yeah, I know. Time will tell if your brother's right or wrong. Time will tell if Yahuwah is right or wrong. Not me. I'm just giving you from the book. But poop, manure, dung, shit is about to hit the fan. It's about to get bad out here. That's it for Israel. These people are wiping the slate clean of everything they ever done to us wicked. So they can do it again. And no record of it. So that way you can't say, no, here's the evidence y'all did. Nah, that's done away with. That's Supreme Court said we don't have to honor rights of a black man ever again. Go read the Dred Scott decision. What it said. It said, ever no black man or slave ever we have to have rights in this country. That's what it says. Ever. Hey, by the way, about the okay. You take your 14th, 15th, 16th Amendment and do whatever you want to do with it. But can we talk about sharecropping, prison lease program, mass incarceration, vagrant laws, black codes, Jim Crow laws, sunset laws? Can we talk about that too while you doing all that talking, housing discrimination, since you so liberated? It's all done away with. Well, it's all about to be done away with in a minute. Right before your eyes. And you say you're going to see it happen right before your eyes. Is that not what he said over in Deuteronomy? Right before our eyes, you're going to see it. Verse 2. First Baruch, chapter 2, verse 2. To bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven. Never happened before. Some of this stuff that's coming. Some of the stuff has just came over the last 3 years. Whole earth, everybody, hit everywhere. But we were the targets. According to them. In other words, we were the targeted group by the plagues. They said we were the target group by the plagues. They say they're not targeting us. The plagues are targeting us. And so therefore they have to help us. And here's their solution. Their solution. Here is the solution. Take the solution. And it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that were written in the Torah of Moshe, that a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. Didn't we just read that earlier? Or you can read that in the book of Deuteronomy. It said it would happen if we served their gods. And moreover, he has delivered them in subjection unto all the kingdoms that are round about us, to be as a reproach and a desolation among all the people round about us, where Yahuwah has scattered us. Them thus we were cast down, not exalted, because we have sinned against Yahuwah and have chosen not to be obedient to his voice. Verse 6, to Yahuwah appertains the righteousness, but unto us and our fathers open shame, as it appears to this very day. For all these plagues have come upon us, which Yahuwah has pronounced against us. Deuteronomy 28 again. Although they're telling us it's done away with. All these plagues have come up against us, and Yahuwah has pronounced against us, yet we have not prayed to Yahuwah. We're praying to Jesus and everybody else, but not Yahuwah. Buddha, Krishna, everybody, but not Yahuwah. That we may turn everyone from the imaginations of their own wicked hearts. Wherefore Yahuwah watched over us for evil, and in other words, he tolerated, and Yahuwah has brought it upon us. For Yahuwah is righteous in all of his works which he has commanded us. Yet we have not hearkened unto his voice to walk in the commandments of Yahuwah that he has set before us. Brothers and sisters, that's all I got. Let's start right here. We can either come the easy way or the hard way. All right? Everyone's got to decide for themselves. I can't survive. I can't decide for you. I can't decide for your children. You can't decide for your children. You can teach them. You can train them up and trust that Abba Yah word will manifest in their lives if they choose to stay on the right path. Your brothers, we're out of time. Sisters, we're out of time. These next 2 years, remember what we said? Pharaoh increased the burdens upon Israel. These kingdoms are going to come at us with everything they got to shut us down, to silence us. And if you're not obeying Abba Yah's Torah under the protection of his truth, then guess what? Just like they came to New Orleans in the evening in the uptown where they thought they were safe, you're going to find out, nope, wasn't safe. You should have listened. DFG. Again, Shabbat Shalom. And see you next time. Y'all willing. Bye now.